You ever notice how pretty much every modern Disney cartoon has the same setup? I'm serious. Most original Disney cartoons these days are about kids being whisked away from their boring normal lives and tossed into a new location full of weird, supernatural, or fantastical junk where they're taken in by a new family or extended family member, and they all work together to face the challenges of this new location while uncovering some sort of mystery. This is like very specifically a Disney thing right now. And if you ask me, this probably all started in 2012 with Gravity Falls. You know, Gravity Falls, that show about two twins spending the summer with their shady great uncle in a town full of spooky supernatural stuff with an underlying mystery that slowly unravels over the course of the show's 2 seasons. Sound familiar? Gravity Falls was a huge hit for Disney. I mean, the show ended in 2016 and the fan base is still ride or die. And that kind of long-lasting success is not gonna go unnoticed by the mouse. See, Disney is all about formulas, if you can't tell. And with Gravity Falls, they found a winning formula for their cartoons and have just hit the ground running, putting out awesome shows ever since. And I bet they've kept their eyes on all of them, just waiting to see which one might become their next huge hit. The next Gravity Falls. But every cartoon is a unique and original piece of art, built from the life experiences and imagination of the individual who created it. They may take inspiration from other shows, but they use that as a foundation to build their own story and legacy. No cartoon can really be the next Gravity Falls. But let's play along anyway. Today, I want to take a look at the 3 main original cartoons on Disney right now: Ducktales, Amphibia, and The Owl House. Sorry, Big City Greens, maybe another time. Not to see which is the best show or anything, but more to see each one's potential for becoming Disney's worthy spiritual successor to Gravity Falls, while only kinda spoiling all of them. But first, I just want to say if you enjoy this video and want to support the channel, then you can always like the video and subscribe by hitting the red button below and clicking the bell next to it to be notified whenever I upload in the future. Also, just a reminder, I do have a couple of fun shirts available over at my merch store. There's the classic Brief History logo tee like you see in every video, and there's the I Am the Salt t-shirt, which now doubles as my mood every time I play Animal Crossing. You can find those in this little banner just beneath the video or at the link in the description. So yeah, if you want to support my channel, those are a few of the best ways to do it, and I really appreciate it. Anyway, back to whatever it is I'm doing this week. And I want to start with Ducktales. Partly because it is the oldest of the 3, but mainly I've just been waiting for a reason to talk about this show for the last 3 years. So, Ducktales is the 2017 reboot of the 1987 Disney classic, DuckTales. Duh. We got 3 brothers, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, living a pretty normal life with their boring uncle Donald Duck, who then drops the boys off at their great uncle Scrooge McDuck's gigantic mansion. Scrooge here is the richest duck in the world, who used to go on all sorts of crazy adventures, fighting monsters, discovering lost treasures, and all that. But he's been retired for a long time. That is, until Huey, Dewey, and Louie barrel into his life, cause a bunch of trouble, and get him back into adventure. And that's basically the show. Now, to be a contender in this weird little contest I'm throwing, you don't have to follow the Gravity Falls template exactly. That similar setup is important, but it's more about having a vibe. Like the shows should just feel cut from the same cloth. But right off the bat here in DuckTales, we've got siblings being taken in by a great uncle with a mysterious past and going on fantastical adventures. That's pretty on the nose. Or on the beak, I guess. Plus, there's characters like Webby, who's basically Mabel if she was socially awkward, and Launchpad, who is our resident Seuss for this cartoon. Whoa, dude, this is crazy. It's like you're me. Whoa, are you a pilot? Define pilot. And of course, by the end of episode 1, we got a mystery on our hands.
Mom?
Man, when I first saw this at the end of the premiere, I was immediately hooked. I love DuckTales. I almost went into Grunkle Stan. I love DuckTales! It's actually one of my favorite cartoons, period. But in terms of taking the throne from Gravity Falls, I'm not sure. A lot of the pieces are there, no doubt. It's got all the action, adventure, comedy, and drama you could want from this kind of cartoon. But if you ask me, there's one big thing missing, and that's well, this is gonna sound contradictory, but it is the mystery. See, DuckTales has its fair share of mysteries, but where Gravity Falls' mysteries were the foundation of the show, so far, DuckTales just kinda has mysteries sprinkled in over its foundation of a fun adventure show. Like the show's first main mystery, Huey, Dewey, and Louie's mom. That gets resolved in the first 2 seasons, but then the show carries on with their mom just being a part of the cast now. Kinda like Great Uncle Ford in Gravity Falls. But in Gravity Falls, the mysteries pretty much were the show, all leading up to the finale. Great Uncle Ford coming back in Gravity Falls was a catalyst towards the end goal of the show. That's not really been the case with DuckTales. Mysteries are part of DuckTales, but DuckTales isn't its mysteries, if that makes sense. Also, as much as I hate to say this, I don't really think DuckTales is catching on. I mean, we're 3 seasons in, and I feel like I barely hear anyone talking about this show. At least not a lot. Compare that to Gravity Falls, which is still being talked about 4 years after it ended, and I just don't think DuckTales is gonna reach that level. Which is fine, don't get me wrong. Very few cartoons ever do reach that level, and it has absolutely no bearing on whether or not it's a good show. Like I said, DuckTales is an all-time favorite of mine. I think any Gravity Falls fan will find stuff to love in this show, and it's on Disney+, check it out. This video is not sponsored by Disney+. Amazing show! The next Gravity Falls? Probably not. Does that matter? No, I'm an idiot. Next up, Amphibia. Amphibia. An entire cartoon based solely around this face. This is a 2019 cartoon about 3 girls who get magically transported from their normal boring lives to a world of frog people. For some reason. Our main character, Anne, is taken in by this nice farm family, the Planters, Polly, Sprig, and Hop Pop, as they try to figure out a way to get Anne back home. Now, I'll admit, when I first started watching this show, I didn't think it was gonna be a contender for my arbitrary, totally made up, pointless competition against a show that's not even on anymore. Like, yeah, you had the classic Gravity Falls style setup, and there was plenty of monster fighting and fantasy junk to enjoy, but for the majority of its first season, Amphibia's just a really good and mostly normal slice-of-life comedy show with not much of a mystery. Gravity Falls hits you with the mystery in like the first 5 minutes. Amphibia just doesn't go that hard. Legit, the entire first half of season 1 can basically be boiled down to this. Wow, you are old and your ways are dumb. Well, you're young and your ways are dumb. We shall perform shenanigans of generational conflict and come out in the end with a new appreciation for each other's perspectives on life. Good, and I'm sure we will forget everything we've learned and do this all over again in a week's time. Blech. Yeah, the show doesn't really have much of an overarching plot until the end of season 1. Though, who knows, maybe by the end it'll pull a Steven Universe and all the early stuff we only half paid attention to will become the ultimate evil. Look out, the Grubhog's got a knife! But yeah, season 1 keeps things pretty simple. Season 2 is getting more involved as Anne's human friends are starting to show up. I mean, they are in the opening, I'd hope they'd play into the plot at some point, but so far, Amphibia, much like DuckTales, is more of a comedy show that occasionally breaks out into plot. The characters aren't as one-to-one like DuckTales, but the style and humor feels very Gravity Falls. But again, it's kind of been missing that mystery element. Though I do think that's gonna change pretty soon. Season 2's been building the intrigue and world building a lot more. And then there's the box. See, Anne and her friends were transported to Amphibia by this weird music box they found at a pawn shop. And just like Grunkle Stan knew something was up with the journals in Gravity Falls, Hop Pop sees this box and starts sweating. He knows more than he lets on, and the show's starting to drop hints that some revelations may be just around the corner. Also, if you want to talk about Amphibia being similar to Gravity Falls, the show has an entire episode that's just a Gravity Falls crossover. Kinda. The gang roll up on the Mystery Shack, Curiosity Hut, where they meet Grunkle Stan. Like, no, for real, this guy is legit just Stan Pines, but a frog. Same voice and everything. Heck, Seuss even makes a guest appearance to provide meta-existentialism and a drug reference. Good wholesome family fun! So, when it comes to Amphibia's chances in Disney's next top Gravity Falls, things are okay. In terms of popularity and fan response, it feels like Amphibia's on a similar level as DuckTales, but where I worry DuckTales is on its way down, I think Amphibia may be on its way up. It feels like the show's on a bit of a slower burn than Gravity Falls, but things are starting to happen, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. Also helps that I just adore this show and all its characters. I can easily see myself rewatching this one over and over. Again, it's on Disney+, check it out. This video is still not sponsored by Disney+. And so, that leaves us with The Owl House. Okay, calm down. This is the most recent show of the bunch here, premiering earlier this year and having very recently wrapped up its first season. And, of course, we have our classic setup. A nerdy girl named Luce is about to be sent off to a boring summer camp when she randomly stumbles through a portal into a magical land straight out of a young adult fantasy book. She's taken in by this witch named Ida and this adorable little baby demon King, whose voice is literally just Bill Cipher without the effects.
Oh, the Steven Universe wannabe thinks we sound the same.
Ha! I don't even hear it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got all that chorus and delay on your voice, and I don't.
Yeah, plus, I'm a demon from a different dimension.
Well, I also am a demon from a different dimension.
Huh. Luce starts learning magic with Ida, meets new friends, and just totally runs off to live a new life in this dangerously unpredictable world while lying to her mom that she's still at summer camp because apparently there's cell service in this dimension. One of the cool things about the Owl House is how it goes hard with its fantasy stuff. The other shows definitely have fantasy elements, but Owl House is just all about its monsters, magic, big lore, and heck, they even go to wizard school like it's freaking Harry Potter. Now, The Owl House is a perfect example of what I meant when I said this wasn't about strictly following another show's format, but more about having the same vibe. Because all these shows have elements similar to Gravity Falls. Ducktales has a lot of similar character types, Amphibia has a very similar style of humor, and all of them have similar setups. But I feel like this show definitely stands out against the others, even Gravity Falls. The world, the characters, the mysteries, the lore, they're all very distinct to Gravity Falls, but carry the same energy. Watching the season finale for Owl House gave me the same feeling as watching the pieces start falling into place in Gravity Falls, even though what I was seeing was very different. It's less about cracking codes and finding clues, and more just learning the dark, disturbing secrets of this world. But it feels the same to me. Watching Ducktales and Amphibia, I could always tell these shows were similar to Gravity Falls, but they never drummed up the same reactions from me. I mean, Ducktales made me cry and Amphibia has me intrigued, but so far, the Owl House is the only one that's given me that same "whoa, what?" reaction that I got from Gravity Falls' crazier moments. And in terms of popularity and fan response, you guys have been asking me to talk about the Owl House every single day for the last few weeks. So I think that's kind of your answer there. Seriously, over the last month, the Owl House has just exploded. And that's important here. See, as great as Ducktales and Amphibia are, I've not really seen a lot of major hype around them. Gravity Falls had hype, and now the Owl House has hype. I think it's the first new cartoon of the 2020s to really get people excited, and I can totally see why. So between our three contenders, DuckTales, Amphibia, and The Owl House, the one, in my opinion, most likely to become Disney's next Gravity Falls is The Owl House. Congratulations! This reward means nothing, but hey, the real winners here? Oh, it's us, no doubt, because we just get to enjoy these shows, all of them. Disney is killing the game right now with its cartoons. This might be the strongest lineup they've had in years. I know I just spent this whole video comparing and contrasting all of these shows to Gravity Falls. And while they're definitely cut from the same cloth, they really are unique in a lot of ways. Like I said before, there is no replacing Gravity Falls. That show was its own incredible thing and was hugely influential. What we're seeing now is that kind of influence being put into practice, paving the way for new shows that are awesome and cool in their own right. Back in January, I made a video where I said the 2010s gave us some of the best cartoons of all time, and we're gonna usher in a new decade of stuff that's just as good, if not better. And these three shows are exactly what I was talking about. Blech.